If you've ever wondered just how deep Dexter's gallery of villains goes, tonight is the night we descend into the darkness. From forgettable killers who barely make a ripple, to the masterminds who deliver nightmares and alter Dexter's fate forever, it's a journey through 7 distinct layers of menace and determination, each one more dangerous than the last. Level 1. The lightweight threats. These characters are best described as dangerous only in theory. It's not just their crimes that make them level 1, it's their utter lack of awareness, cunning, and staying power. Brutal and remorseless, but without intelligence or sophistication, they fall easily when Dexter targets them. Their arrogance and complacency are their undoing, and even their body counts can't overcome the absence of strategy or contingency plans. They're blips in Dexter's world, dispatched with almost no effort sometimes, so easy that a rookie vigilante could take them down. These are Dexter's least formidable targets. Their evil is obvious, but their ability to evade capture is practically non-existent. On level 1, we see monsters like Juan Rhinus, a Miami pimp who murdered Harry Morgan's confidential informant and evaded justice. After Harry endorses vigilante justice, Dexter abducts and dismembers Juan in a primitive, early ritual. This sets Dexter on his path as the Bay Harbor Butcher. Despite his brutality, Juan's inability to sense the predator stalking him makes him a textbook lightweight villain. Cal Rooney, a carnival night watchman using his access to stalk and murder women, Rooney's crimes were heinous but simplistic. He had no contingency plans or ability to cover his tracks, making him easy prey. Dexter captured and decapitated him in a flashback raid at the fairgrounds. Rooney's clumsy pattern and lack of strategic depth mean he barely lingers in memory beyond his demise. Mike Donovan, a respected choir teacher by day, Donovan abducted and molested young boys, burying the bodies under a cabin. Dexter exposed Donovan's double life, forcing him to confront the reality of what he'd done before killing him, marking the ritual's introduction.
Please. Open your eyes and look at what you did!
Jaime Jaworski, a predatory valet, Jaworski kidnapped and killed for sexual pleasure, posting snuff films online. Dexter confirms his guilt, and after a confession void of remorse, decapitates him with a meat cleaver. Jaworski's careless arrogance and lack of broader criminal reach make him easy for Dexter to dispatch. Freebo. Also known as Fred Bowman, Freebo was a low-level drug dealer and killer. He murdered 2 college girls, then hid out at his girlfriend's house after Oscar Prado's death. He put no effort into real protection. Once Dexter found him, it was over. Freebo's lack of organization and awareness makes him another blip on the kill list. These level 1 killers are cautionary tales, demonstrating how evil without intellect, discipline, or flexibility is doomed. They're swept aside by Dexter's code, leaving barely a ripple in his story or in Miami's criminal world.
Redefine short-term relationship. Catch my drift?
I catch your drift.
Their failures remind us that true danger requires more than cruelty. It takes cunning, persistence, and adaptation, qualities these villains never possessed. Level 2. The Gimmicky obstacles. These are Dexter's problem solvers and opportunistic menaces, the ones who, for a time, manage to outsmart the justice system or foil easy capture. Their crimes may be more organized or inventive than the level 1 crowd, and some even develop a twisted logic or signature. But what defines level 2 isn't their body count, it's their gimmicks and obsessive patterns, which eventually betray them. They threaten innocence, cause setbacks, and sometimes even get the better of Dexter. For a moment. Yet, despite their edge, they lack the strategy, planning, or true unpredictability needed to stay dangerous for long. Whether it's an over-reliance on brute force, ego, or a half-baked vigilante mentality, their undoing is baked into their methods. They're adversaries who might slow Dexter down, but never truly pose a lasting threat. These are the show's recurring headaches and elaborate distractions, obsessive, cunning, and sometimes just lucky. But Dexter always finds a way to exploit their weaknesses. This level is home to offenders like Walter Kenny, the Tooth Fairy. Once a notorious serial killer, Kenny stalked and murdered sex workers, collecting their incisors as trophies. Age dulled his threat, but the darkness lingered. He killed again out of boredom and the need to feel relevant. Kenny was sharp enough to realize Dexter was onto him and even got Dexter at gunpoint, planning to kill him.
Keep your eye on the road or I'll blow your head out the window. Drive until I tell you to turn.
Ultimately, his age and frailty allowed Dexter to easily overpower him, ending both the legend and the man with a staged natural death in his retirement home, depriving him of the notoriety he craved. Little Chino? He was a near-mythic gang enforcer, a giant in both stature and reputation. Wielding his machete for the 29th Street Kings, he ordered and committed brutal murders, escaping justice multiple times, mainly because he killed any witnesses. His intimidation and savagery tested Dexter physically, even managing to escape Dexter's kill room. But Chino's reliance on brute force and overconfidence meant that, eventually, Dexter outmaneuvered him.
Hardly a stretch. It was only a matter of time before Little Chino went after Joey Nunez for snitching him out.
Proving brawn isn't everything in Miami Shadows. Lowell Sloan, the tattoo collector. A skilled anesthesiologist and sadistic killer, Sloan stalked and kidnapped victims, then skinned tattooed flesh as trophies. As part of Leon Prater's network, his obsession made him notorious, but also predictable. Knowing that he had his next target picked out, Dexter befriended Sloan to stay close, then turned the tables as Sloan prepared for his next kill, proving that even among elite killers, predictability is fatal.
Yeah, well, I've been on the other side of this long enough to know when it's inevitable. Sorry to droop your chub.
Ron Galuzzo, an exercise equipment salesman hiding the secret of a cannibalistic addiction, Galuzzo was initially investigated as a major threat. Dexter uncovered his unique brand of horror when he found a finger simmering in the crockpot and a human brain marinating in his fridge. Though unnerving, Galuzzo's grotesque habits and methods didn't make him a threat against Dexter, who disposed of him in as clinical a fashion as Galuzzo disposed of his victims.
Cannibal, consumer of human flesh.
Nurse Mary. Dexter's first human victim, Nurse Mary, was a so-called angel of mercy who euthanized patients with overdoses, staging their deaths as natural. She kept obituaries as trophies, believing she offered a service. Harry, suspecting her true nature and that she was targeting him, gave Dexter the green light to act, a formative moment for his code.
What do you mean, stop her? It's time. Before she hurts anyone else.
Dexter's kill was messy, but Mary's misplaced compassion and amateur ritual made her an essential but outclassed threat. These level 2 villains are reminders that being clever or even monstrous isn't enough. They use tactics and terror, but fail to evolve. They may duck justice for a while, even fooling those around them. But Dexter's method is foolproof against anyone stuck in a loop. Their patterns, pride, or singular obsessions will always be found out, and in the end, that's exactly how they get caught. Level 3. The motivated but flawed. This tier is about adversaries whose actions are propelled by powerful, personal motives, revenge, desperation, love, or duty, rather than sheer sadism or unrestrained evil. Unlike the cartoonish or gimmicky threats below them, these opponents genuinely believe they have strong reasons for what they do. Sometimes their motives are sympathetic, sometimes they're warped by obsession, heartache, or the pressures of family ties. Their strength lies in their passion, persistence, and emotional stakes. Many of these antagonists cause real setbacks for Dexter. Some even wound him emotionally or physically. But the same motivation that drives them also makes them reckless, sloppy, and prone to mistakes. Their focus narrows so much that it blinds them to the bigger picture. In the end, they lack the control, discipline, or self-awareness needed to defeat Dexter for good. Level 3 is marked by foes such as Lila West, an English artist and arsonist whose obsessive love for Dexter drives her to manipulation and violence. Claiming to understand his true self, Lila disrupts his life, sabotages his relationships, and even kidnaps Rita's children, setting them all on fire in her loft. Her reckless need to be needed makes her dangerous, but when Lila targeted those Dexter loves, she could never outrun him. He caught up to her in Paris and took her out without so much as a struggle. Ronald Red Schmidt, the Dark Passenger Killer. Red is a serial killer propelled by deep personal trauma. After losing his father to suicide, which he blames on the changing world of rideshare drivers, Schmidt launches a single-minded campaign of vengeance. His motivation is raw, personal hurt. He targets rideshare drivers across New York City.
Are you
going to kill you?
Schmidt's attacks are methodical and brutal, and in the end, it is this unwavering focus on his vendetta and the deep, unresolved wounds that fuel it that make him dangerous, but ultimately blind him to his own undoing. Steve and Beth Dorsey. Driven by fervent apocalyptic conviction, the Dorseys become true believers, willing to abandon morality for what they think is a sacred cause. Their blind faith makes them dangerous and unpredictable. They commit kidnapping and ritual murder, convinced it will bring about salvation. When Beth's zeal escalates to an attack on Miami Metro itself, her unwavering conviction leaves her isolated and reckless. Their devotion makes them formidable, but their inability to question their orders from Travis Marshall due to their beliefs ultimately paves the way for their ruin, culminating in a failed terrorist act and their deaths, with them the only two casualties when Dexter intervenes. Angel Batista. Angel Batista was once Dexter's loyal friend at Miami Metro, never suspecting his true nature, even when Lagerta pointed fingers. After Angela Bishop exposes Dexter as the true Bay Harbor butcher,
my old captain actually thought it was someone else in the precinct.
Who?
Dexter Morgan, but he died years ago.
Batista's sense of justice turns relentless. He becomes determined to hold Dexter accountable, risking everything. His deep loyalty and personal hurt cloud his judgment, and in his final pursuit, Batista's urge for answers and vengeance leads him to ignore his own safety. In the end, this emotional drive leaves him exposed, allowing Prater to kill him before he can see justice done. Christina Hill, a driven journalist whose ambition is matched only by her desperate need for her father's acceptance, the infamous Trinity Killer. Estranged and longing for connection, Christine manipulates evidence, kills Agent Lundy, and shoots Deborah in a reckless attempt to protect her secret and win her father's approval. Her obsession blinds her to consequences, leaving her devastated when he ultimately rejects her. Overcome by guilt and heartbreak, Christine ends her own life, undone by the very motivation that drove her actions.
Let's just get to the station. Wait, no, don't!
These level 3 antagonists are people driven by vengeance, those corrupted by love, loyalty, or obsession, and characters acting for family or survival, even if their means are monstrous. Their greatest asset is also their greatest flaw: motivation. It gives them purpose, but takes away the caution and adaptability needed to survive a dance with Dexter, especially once he regains control. In the moment, they may shake his world, but ultimately, their inability to see past their own obsession paves the way for their downfall. Level 4. The Unhinged Sadists. At this level, Dexter faces villains whose violence isn't complicated by love, messy motives, or obsession. These are killers who inflict pain and cause chaos, purely for their own pleasure, gratification, or sense of domination. They aren't distracted by guilt, emotional ties, or the need for approval. Their focus is simply on hurting, breaking, and terrorizing anyone within reach. Instead of being grand masterminds with long-term vision, their reign of terror is brutal, immediate, and often mindless. Their evil is elemental, terrifying in its simplicity and effectiveness. Some do it for the thrill, others as part of a warped personal code, but all of them lack empathy or remorse. Even if many are ultimately no match for Dexter one-on-one, their capacity to leave devastation in their wake and to involve other followers or systems in their crimes makes them some of Dexter's most chilling and memorable monsters. Mia LaPierre, Lady Vengeance. A member of Leon Prater's serial killer club, Mia is known by the media as Lady Vengeance and has a reputation for killing abusers of women. In reality, she tortures men by burning their corneas and inflicting pain with no motive beyond the thrill of killing.
You're going to be my first kill in New York City.
Her flair for psychological and physical torment, combined with a lack of caution, sets her apart as one of the most sadistically motivated killers. Mia's undoing comes quickly once Dexter finds out her true motives. Ray Speltzer. Ray treats murder like a twisted sport, building mazes and hunting women for pleasure. While his brutality is real, his planning is simplistic and relies more on size and shock than actual cunning. Ultimately, his obsession with elaborate games and his towering ego lead him to underestimate Dexter, who lures Speltzer into a trap and ends his games permanently.
No.
George King, the Skinner. A sadistic torturer who kidnapped and skinned his victims alive, King captured Anton Briggs, and later even Dexter himself. He was obsessed with finding Freebo, but his overconfidence blinded him. After King stalked and captured Dexter, then tied him to a table, Dexter broke free by flipping the table he was tied to. Once free, Dexter snapped King's neck, dropping him in front of the police, staging it as a suicide. The Skinner's ritualized violence and arrogance made him reckless. Dexter easily took him down with a broken hand. Boyd Fowler, Boyd helped the Barrel Girl gang by stuffing kidnapped and tortured women into barrels, electrocuting them, and dumping the barrels in a pond. During Dexter's first attempt to take him down, he made the mistake of sedating Boyd while Boyd still had a tranquilizer gun. Boyd managed to shoot Dexter with it before passing out. Despite this close call, Dexter was able to finish Boyd off easily the second time. Boyd's downfall was his predictable methods and inability to cover his tracks. A.J. Yates, a former patient of Dr. Vogel, Yates abducted women and kept them bound beneath his house, breaking each of the victims' toes and cutting off one of their feet, keeping a shoe as a trophy. He kidnapped Vogel herself.
Try and get away, and I'll kill you.
But when Dexter tracked them to a vacant home, he noticed fresh blood and drove a curtain rod through the mattress of the bed he was hiding under, killing Yates instantly. An easy kill for Dexter, making Yates tough only when it came to the women he tortured and killed. These level 4 antagonists are the show's most dangerous pleasure killers, spreading pain for its own sake and remaking the lives of those around them into nightmares. Dexter's defeat of these monsters may be swift, but by the time he catches up to them, the damage they've inflicted is already irreparable, and their brand of horror lingers long after they're gone. Level 5, the clever foes. Level 5 adversaries are impressive and prolific serial killers, often with clever or elaborate MOs, high intelligence, and the potential to do significant damage if not checked. They are not usually Dexter's greatest threats, but do deserve respect. They may outmaneuver him once, have large body counts, and can sometimes fool or escape him, but are ultimately outsmarted and outdone by Dexter's combination of cunning, stalking, and adaptability. They rarely pose a threat to Dexter's freedom or loved ones for long. They may shake him or cause a setback, and he must bring his A-game to the hunt. But they are, in the final analysis, big fish in a small pond. Once Dexter has them in his sights and the puzzle is solved, their number is up. Advancing to level 5, we uncover killers such as Travis Marshall, the Doomsday Killer, a fanatical visionary who stages apocalyptic murders based on revelation.
There's a lot of them inside.
You're gonna need a 7.
Operating with relentless zealotry and shocking brutality. Driven by a delusional sense of divine mission, he executes gory, symbolic killings to inspire fear and fulfill his chosen role. His unwavering belief and cunning allow him to outsmart Dexter several times, come close to large-scale disaster, and kidnap Harrison. But ultimately, Dexter captures him on the brink of Harrison's sacrifice. Al Jolly, a prolific killer with at least 19 known victims, Al lures women with charisma and charm, then strangles them with their own hair and takes their ponytails as trophies. He's clever enough to recognize danger fleeing Dexter when others begin to drop, and hiding his true identity from everyone.
Take care of yourself, okay, pal?
Still, Dexter uncovers his secrets via Praetor's file from the vault, ensuring it's only a matter of time before Al faces Dexter's table. Gemini twins. Gareth and Gareth's twin. Highly intelligent Mensa-level twin brothers who kill in pairs and arrange victims in the Gemini zodiac symbol. They elude law enforcement for years, become the FBI's most wanted, and even track Dexter to his New York home without Dexter even realizing he was being followed. Their undoing is their arrogance and overconfidence. Both fall to Dexter, one by underestimating Dexter in his own apartment, the other in a reckless confrontation before witnesses.
In front of an audience.
Lewis Green, a forensic lab intern and video game designer who developed an obsession with Dexter. He tampers with evidence, sends Dexter cryptic messages, and delivers the ice truck killer's hand, trying to frame Dexter for lab misconduct. While clever, Lewis lacked the ruthlessness and discipline to be a true threat. His clumsy stunts put him in the crosshairs of Isaac Serco and cost him his life. Ultimately, his downfall was overestimating his own cleverness and underestimating both Dexter and his real enemies.
Yes.
Maria LaGuerta, Miami Metro's ambitious lieutenant, then captain, was one of the few to suspect Dexter's true nature. She spearheaded the Bay Harbor Butcher reinvestigation, followed leads, and pressured old colleagues, eventually pitting herself against her entire department. LaGuerta's intelligence and political savvy let her get closer than almost anyone to exposing Dexter. But her solo pursuit was her undoing. LaGuerta's greatest flaw was her relentless pursuit of justice, even when it left her isolated and vulnerable. Not all level 5 opponents are villains, some are determined law enforcement officers or complicated rivals, but all are clever, resourceful, and highly skilled. Whether their motivations are justice, ambition, revenge, or personal obsession, each is fully capable of disrupting Dexter's plans and keeping him on edge, at least temporarily. Still, thanks to his methodical approach and adaptability, Dexter is able to outmaneuver even the most cunning adversaries in the end. If these challengers were a bit less arrogant, a touch more cautious, or even just slightly luckier, their impact could have been much greater, but as it stands, most ultimately find themselves a step behind Miami's ultimate predator. Level 6. The Game Changers. Level 6 adversaries stand out because they have real power, reach, or cunning, and they use it to directly and effectively threaten Dexter's freedom, life, or the safety of his loved ones. What sets these antagonists apart is their ability to see through Dexter's masks, outmaneuver him, or hit him where he's most vulnerable. They are not simply prolific killers or clever manipulators. They can genuinely change the stakes for Dexter and sometimes nearly bring him down entirely. Level 6 foes play to their own strengths with ruthless efficiency. Most know or discover the real truth about Dexter and have the resources or intelligence to get him arrested or even killed. Their plans are rarely short-sighted. These are the adversaries who get the closest to tearing Dexter's world apart, whether through relentless police work, deadly schemes, or psychological manipulation. As we ascend to level 6, notorious faces emerge, including Hannah McKay. A master manipulator and poisoner, Hannah survived her own violent adolescence and went on to become both Dexter's lover and could-be destroyer. She talks her way off his table, orchestrates escapes, and even tries to kill Deborah.
I didn't let her inside my house last night. I went for a run. Maybe she broke in after I left or something.
Succeeding where most never try. Dexter's personal attachment leaves him at her mercy on more than one occasion, proving her charm and lethal resolve can cut deeper than any enemy's blade. Hannah's real advantage is her ability to control Dexter's heart, something almost no one else ever managed. Kurt Caldwell. Powerful and untouchable in Iron Lake, Kurt was able to kill for decades, hiding his crimes behind a well-cultivated persona and local influence. Once he uncovered Dexter's secret, Kurt responded with brutal efficiency, kidnapping Harrison.
Sins of the father. It's a fucked up world out there.
Burning Dexter's house and orchestrating a campaign to put Dexter in jail. Even after his death, the evidence he left behind led to Dexter's downfall. Kurt's combination of patience, intelligence, and resources made him one of the few to truly upend Dexter's life. Angela Bishop. As chief of police in Iron Lake, Angela was resourceful, methodical, and relentless. She not only suspected Dexter's true nature, but was bold enough to pursue and ultimately arrest him.
What's going on?
Turn around! On your knees! Hands on your head!
What, you taking the whole role-playing thing?
Pulling together evidence even Miami Metro couldn't. Her commitment to justice and her courage put her among the most dangerous non-criminals Dexter ever faced. In the end, Angela wasn't violent, but her unwavering pursuit led directly to Dexter's final confrontation in New Blood. She also shared just enough info with Angel Batista, turning him into a dog with a bone in Dexter Resurrection. Isaac Serco, the ruthless leader of the Koshka Brotherhood, set on avenging his lover Victor's death. Methodical, patient, and highly skilled, he tracked and hunted Dexter across Miami, orchestrating multiple attempts on Dexter's life and outmaneuvering police and criminals alike. Isaac came closer than almost any adversary to destabilizing Dexter's world, but his need for personal vengeance and emotional attachment to Victor blinded him at crucial moments. When the mob turned on him and he needed Dexter's help to survive,
Money and power can't bring back. Till next time.
Isaac's isolation and singular focus became a fatal vulnerability. Leon Prater? A billionaire organizer of a serial killer secret club, Leon had the money, influence, and criminal network to ruin or kill anyone, including Dexter. He uncovered Dexter's secret, killed Angel Batista, held Harrison hostage, and forced Dexter to offer his own life for his son's safety. Only a rare miscalculation from Prater, some prearranged protection for Harrison, and a lot of luck for Dexter allowed Dexter and Harrison to turn the tables. Prater remains one of the few to bring Dexter to the brink of utter defeat. James Dokes? Dokes was relentless, suspicious, and seemingly immune to Dexter's usual facade. He was the only cop who truly saw through Dexter tracking his every move and gathering enough evidence to expose him as the Bay Harbor Butcher. Dokes' relentless pursuit pushed Dexter closer to being caught than anyone else, even convincing him to nearly break the code and turn himself in. In the end, Dokes' unwavering sense of justice sealed his fate. He was killed by Lila and framed for Dexter's crimes, but remains the series' first true threat to Dexter's freedom. Standing out as the original, formidable threat who couldn't be misdirected or outplayed. These level 6 adversaries are the ones who change the game. Dexter can no longer rely on wit alone or simply outmaneuver his foes. These opponents have the power, persistence, and resources to burn Dexter's world down if he slips up. Facing them, Dexter is truly at risk. His freedom, secrets, and even loved ones hang in the balance. Taking down a level 6 threat is never routine. It requires every ounce of Dexter's ingenuity, adaptability, and ruthlessness. Against these formidable rivals, victory is never guaranteed, and survival can come at a steep personal cost. Level 7. The Apex Predators. Level 7 villains are Dexter's most terrifying and damaging killers, the ones with overwhelming reach, intelligence, patience, and brutality. These big bads operate undetected for decades, shattering lives and leaving emotional scars that haunt Dexter long after their deaths. Ruthless, manipulative, and deceptive even to their own families. They change the course of Dexter's story by challenging not just his freedom, but his very psyche and ability to move forward. Facing a level 7 killer, Dexter endures psychological torture, devastating loss, and the near-total destruction of his world. Eliminating these killers tests every part of Dexter's morality, loyalty, and psychological resilience, often forcing him to make the hardest choices and leaving him forever altered. The 3 that made their way to the top of this list are Brian Moser, the Ice Truck Killer. Dexter's biological brother and a fellow apex predator, Brian kills with both artistry and cruelty, staging elaborate displays only Dexter can truly understand. By nearly killing Deb, reawakening childhood trauma, and forcing Dexter to choose adopted sister and Harry's code over his blood brother, Brian wounds Dexter in ways no foe ever has. Even after his death, Brian's legacy lingers with hallucinations and guilt. The scars he leaves on Dexter's soul are permanent. Arthur Mitchell, the Trinity Killer. A master of hiding in plain sight, Arthur evaded the FBI and local police for over 30 years, racking up 279 victims as the perfect family man. His ritual killings and mercurial personality made him impossible to predict or catch, until Dexter intervened. He managed to stalk Dexter, discover his identity, job, and family. Trinity's last act, the murder of Rita, was a crushing blow that changed Dexter's life forever. Proving Arthur was one of the most formidable predators Dexter ever faced. Oliver Saxon, Daniel Vogel, the brain surgeon. Prodigious, patient, and utterly ruthless, Saxon's spree leaves 8 children, including his brother, cops, and even his own mother dead. He scars Dexter psychologically by attacking Deborah and ultimately causing her to become brain dead, a pain so profound that Dexter pulls the plug on her life support, dumps her body at sea, and leaves Miami behind. Although Dexter kills him in the end, Saxon's cunning, brutality, and personal impact on Dexter's life cement his place among the series' most intimidating adversaries. These level 7 monsters stand alone at the top. They are the rare few who leave Dexter not just physically threatened, but emotionally and psychologically undone. Their manipulations, longevity, and sheer evil force Dexter to fight for more than survival. They force him to reckon with his darkest traumas, vulnerabilities, and the fragile bonds he has left. Even in victory, Dexter finds little relief. Their brutal legacies outlive their deaths. These are the predators who redefine what it means to be truly dangerous. Next up, we turn to Miami Metro itself, where every one of Dexter's coworkers are ranked. Join us for 7 levels of Miami Metro's coworkers as we break down who came the closest to finding and proving who Dexter really was.